AITAH for refusing to get rid of my clothes even though my husband told me to, and then not accepting his apology after he treated me horribly. Story 1. I feel so stupid having to write this and having this issue in the first place, hence why I am posting here on Reddit instead of asking my friends. I have 23 really like clothes and shoes. I admittedly own a lot more of these items than one probably should. I got married to my husband M30 about a year ago and I moved all my stuff into a walk-in closet when we moved in together. It's all been fine for a year. On Friday, however, my husband got home from work and was immediately angry with me. I didn't really know what I did, but I asked what was wrong. He started to scorn me about my clothes and shoes in the closet. He told me I have way too many and we needed to go through it and donate some. I told him I didn't want to get rid of my stuff. He told me I didn't have a choice because the closet was getting full. We argued about it for about 15 minutes before he grabbed my elbow and pulled me into the closet. He told me he was going to sit there and make me get rid of 100 clothes or shoes. I probably have well over 500, so that honestly wasn't that much, but I didn't want to, especially in that moment. I don't even know why he was so adamant. He's never ever had a problem with my things before. It didn't matter that I didn't want to though. He started to pull my stuff out. I snatched them back and we started going through them. My husband sat there and made fun of my clothes as I debated donating them and remembering how much I loved them and what I wore them to. He made fun of my college formal dresses and my old bridesmaids' dresses and stuff that I genuinely loved. When we got to my old clothes, he told me to get rid of them because they probably didn't fit anymore. I told him I didn't even care if they don't fit, I want them for sentimental reasons. That's when my husband demanded that I try on these clothes that I wanted to keep to make sure they even still fit. Again, I didn't have a choice. Eventually, after the 4th or 5th piece of clothing, putting my PJs back on and off, my husband snatched them from me and told me I was taking too long. He literally made me stand there in my bra and underwear while he belittled my clothes. I ended up getting rid of a lot of stuff that I would have kept if I had a choice, just so I could be over with it. I cried when we went to bed that night. And I know that's dramatic, but I genuinely do care about my clothes, and I felt so horrible. The next morning, my husband apologized so much and bought me flowers and breakfast and took me out to dinner, and even bought me more dresses afterwards. It made me feel a little better, but not really. I can tell my husband is annoyed that this didn't make me feel better. AITAH for not feeling better or feeling bad about it in the first place? I feel so stupid, but not like Tay. First comment. NTA, somewhere along the way, someone S has called you stupid one too many times for having feelings and you're starting to believe it. You're not stupid for feeling emotional about what happened and how it happened. None of it was your fault. Please stop thinking that about yourself. This man who is supposed to love you ridiculed you for having sentimental items you've had years and he knew about. How long have we all lived together before you got married? How long after you got married did these control tactics start happening? These random mood swings? These love bombings? Don't ever let him make you feel small again for what and who you are. If he can't love all of you, he doesn't love you. Second comment. NTA. Your husband was being vile. I can see where the clothes, ATC might take up a lot of space, which can put a strain on things. If they're things you don't wear anymore but they still hold a lot of value to you, maybe you can put them in storage? That way you don't have to worry about what he will do to them. If you have the time, maybe consider volunteering at one of those places that helps low-income teens prepare for prom or low-income women prepare for interviews. It sounds like you know fashion and have a passion for it. Why not help someone else get those same memories you have and build your support network? If you are practicing retail therapy, I know I've done it. You should see my yarn hoard, maybe consider sitting down with a professional and work on the reasons behind that. It will set you up to be in a position of strength to stand up to your ABIV husband. Story 2. AITAH for not wanting anything to do with my son. Throw away because of personal information on Maine. I really don't know how to start this. Basically, our son 27M just cut us off out of nowhere. Before I start, let me say we didn't spoil our son and never AB said or neglected him in any way. Me and your wife have been to every single game, competition, events, whatever our son was doing, we supported him to the fullest of our ability. We gave his the lesson of work and money from a young age. We talked, had fun together, played together, fishing trips, hunting, boating. We learned his interests as he got older so we can participate. We were always there but also made sure not to hover over him but always available when he needed advice or assistance. We gave him the freedom to make his choices and discussed why a certain choice wasn't a good one, not just tell him he is wrong. This is not to boast about our partnering, but I do believe we did a great job with him and never heard him saying anything to the contrary. Our house was the hangout place for his friends, and on more than one occasion heard his friends saying they wished he had us as parents. Even when he went to college, normally you will expect a decline in contact, but we didn't have that. We covered his college expenses, but he had to get a job to pay for his own food, gas, and half of the rent. We covered the rest. All vacations was on his own dime. Everything changed when he met his girlfriend, now wife, 7 years ago in college. The contact and visits became less and less. We understand and didn't push for him to come and visit, only pushed when it was important events. Birthdays, weddings. After they got married 5 years ago, everything came to a standstill. No contact was received from him. We went weeks not hearing from him until we called him or texted him first. Any visit had to be initiated by us. He got in a car accident, multiple injuries, and only found out 3 weeks after the accident when my wife sent him a message asking if he and his family would visit for Thanksgiving. We found out his wife was pregnant on an FB post with her gender reveal party. Didn't get an invite. We talked to him a week before that. We asked him multiple times if we did anything wrong and why he was icing us out of his life, but his response, everything was sorry, I just forgot. I have asked him if we did anything wrong, and the answer was always no. After the birth of our grandchild, we had to ask to go and visit to be able to see our granddaughter. We did even know his wife gave birth and found out on FB again. I again told him, I know he is grow, but icing us out like this is hurting us, and we don't expect to have him on the phone 24/7, but we would just like to be informed that is it, and a call now and then from him would be nice. He again apologized and promised to keep in contact more. After that, I had to sit down with my wife and asked her to stand with me and not contact our son for any reason. I wanted to see what happened and if he will keep his promises. It was hard, not just for me, but my wife as well. As the months went on, I nearly cracked myself. 6 months went by without a word from our son. This actually started to cause problems in our marriage, and we found ourselves in marriage counseling. Luckily, we came through it and are still married to this day. The first year was the hardest, and I can't count the amount of times me and my wife sat down and talked for hours as to what can be the reason for our son's behavior. Where did we fall short? What went wrong? As according to our son, we did nothing wrong. We had to see the birthday parties and life events through FB. All the people invited to them, having fun. Happy birthdays to other people. I'm not going to describe everything we went through, but for 3 years we didn't receive a phone call, message for birthdays, Christmas, anniversary, invites for our grandchild, nothing. For 3 years we didn't get a single text. 2 weeks ago, me and my wife was sitting on the couch and I received a call from our son. I was shocked, and so was my wife, because of everything we went through. We didn't cut our son off, but decided to act for our own mental health, that we were childless in a sense. I answered the call and put it on speaker so my wife could hear as well. The first thing out of our son's mouth was, "Did you guys forget I existed?" Not a hello, how are you? How have you been? Just, have you forgotten I existed? He didn't scream, but it was clear in his voice. It wasn't said in a joking manner. I asked what he meant, and he said, "Well, I haven't heard from you in a while." I just said back, "You have a phone and you have our numbers. Why didn't you call?" And it was silent from the other end for a couple of seconds, and he just said, "Why didn't you call me?" I unloaded everything I said above on him over the phone call, but in more detail how our marriage almost ended, having to see his life play out on FB, no text, calls, birthday wishes, nothing. The call lasted for about 15 minutes, and most of that time was me just unloading everything on him. Around the 10-minute mark, I could hear him crying over the phone. At the end of the call, I asked him what did we do to him to deserve the treatment he gave us. If we deserved it, I would understand, but we couldn't come up with any reason as to his behavior toward us. But again, he said, "I'm sorry." I shouted over the phone, "Sorry isn't good enough." 3 years of not a word, and all he had to say was, "Sorry, I wanted a reason." He said, "I don't have one, you did nothing wrong." My wife took the phone from me and cut the call, telling me it was enough. I was getting worked up. Since then, our son has been texting nonstop, wanting us to come and visit him, not even coming to us, but after everything wanting us to go to him. I haven't answered yet, nor has my wife. He is begging for a chance to fix everything, but can't give us any reason as to why. At this point, the reason doesn't matter anymore. Some of our family member have contacted us telling us we are assholes because our son is trying and we are finally getting what we want, but now we don't want to talk to him. The pain we went through, almost to the point of divorce for no other reason, isn't something we can get over that quickly, and we are still working on that, but everyone is refusing to understand. My wife agrees with me. What if it happens again? She is at a point where she accepted everything and doesn't even want to entertain the idea of that happening again. She doesn't want to get hurt like that again, neither do I. AITAH. First comment, NTA. There is a very high possibility he only wants you guys cause he wants something huge from you guys. At the risk of sounding harsh and cruel, but if you and your wife are aged as in 60 to 70 years old, there is a possibility he is afraid he will lose his inheritance and only is contacting you to get in your good graces enough for you guys to leave everything to him. Apologies for reaching, but this is where my mind went. For update, edit to add. The reason we stood at the divorce door wasn't because we blamed each other. It was due to the pain we both felt and couldn't work through it. We became housemates, never talked, and bottled everything up. Got mad at each other for nothing. In all his text, he just said he will fix it and want us to visit him, not come and visit us. We have seen our grandchild only once, but regularly seen them with other people on vacations, parties at houses. He and his family was at a New Year Eve party 20 minutes away from our home, and nothing.